Hello, learned pupils. My name is Josh Riggins, and I want to welcome you to Crash Course Philosophy. Over the next few minutes, we will learn about various ethical systems and reflect on how, over the course of the semester, these philosophies have impacted my own beliefs about right and wrong, and generally how to live in the crazy and often confusing world we live in. Yeah, about the test. The test will measure whether you are an informed, engaged, and productive citizen of the world. It will take place in schools and bars and hospitals and dorm rooms and in places of worship. You will be tested on first dates, in job interviews, while watching football, and while scrolling through your Twitter feed. The test will judge your ability to think about things other than celebrity marriages, whether you'll be easily persuaded by empty political rhetoric, and whether you'll be able to place your life and your community in a broader context. The test will last your entire life, and will be comprised of the millions of decisions that, when taken together, make your life yours. And everything will be on it. I know, right? So pay attention. So, to get on with it, this video is not just an explanation of how I personally changed as a result of reading and discussing philosophy. This video is a reflection on how philosophy has the power to change and irrevocably alter one's mindset. From how you perceive work to how you make major life decisions, philosophy has a real and measurable impact on the world we live in right now. At the beginning of the semester, I was a rosy-cheeked youth, eager for a semester of diligent study. I was naive in my worldview, maybe, but man, that kid had moxie. My moral view was essentially subjective. I believed that there is no objective way to determine right and wrong, and the individual determines what their personal idea of virtue is. I shared many views with the cultural relativists. I believe that a person's moral system is largely influenced by how he or she was raised and the moral norms of the society they live in. For example, most people in the United States believe that democracy is a good thing because they grew up in a culture that unilaterally supports the democratic election of officials. According to Frank Boas, cultural relativism means that civilization is not something absolute but is relative, and our ideas and conceptions are true only so far as our civilization goes. Therefore, for a cultural relativist, an action is right or wrong depending on whether it is accepted within that culture. While I accepted that the majority of my views are a result of my cultural heritage, I also believe that these morals were relative. Like Friedrich Nietzsche.
Friedrich Nietzsche.
Oh, okay. I believe that morals should be constructive actively, making them relative to who we are and what we as individuals consider to be true, equal, good and bad, instead of reacting to moral laws made by a certain group of individuals in power. While this may seem contrary to cultural relativism, I justified it because I believe there are many subcultures within a larger cultural melting pot. I saw myself as a representative of this culture of fact checkers and belief ponderers. That's a lot to take in, so let's take a bunny break. An open letter to rabbits. Rabbits, you are undoubtedly adorable. You are soft, cuddly, and very cute. Yet, like most animals, you have no concept of personal hygiene. You use the restroom wherever you please, and you make a mess wherever you happen to eat. You have a wild heart that can't be tamed. And herein lies a problem with cultural relativism. If I am keeping you as a pet, feeding and housing you, then I expect you to behave in a certain way. But because you're an animal, you act as you please. You are merely fulfilling the needs of your messy rabbit culture. So, as a cultural relativist, I must stand by watching my house become dirtier and messier over time, and accept that because some cultures are different, so too are their moral systems. In fact, I would have to insist that you adhere to your rabbit culture because it is morally right for you to do so. Despite the fact that I pay the bills and make your life possible, as a cultural relativist, I have no right to demand that you deny who you really are. Best wishes, Josh Riggins. Now that it's the end of the semester, I have found that my ethical commitments have changed significantly. At the beginning of the semester, my view was subjective, and I did not believe that there was an objective way to find right or wrong. Now, I find myself more aligned with the philosophy of Plato and his teacher Socrates. More specifically, I believe in the Socratic dialogue, that is, using substantial conversation to arrive at a right belief. According to Socrates, virtue is the foundation of a good social order. Yet, a substantial amount of time is spent on figuring out what exactly virtue is. The idea of virtue is not as important, in my view, as discussing what it might be. Like Plato, I believe that by offering hypotheses and testing them by conversation, people are able to grow more close to the truth of something. In Plato's allegory of the cave, he describes a scene where men are imprisoned in a cave and are only able to see projections on a wall. They come to believe that these projections are reality, when in fact, the real world exists outside of their cave. It is my belief that this allegory is a relatively accurate depiction of the world we live in. As human beings, we may not be able to objectively know what virtue, justice, or good and bad are, but through conversation and personal reflection, we can approach the truth of the matter and subsequently grow as a result of our experience. This has been Crash Course Philosophy. Thanks for watching.